All right, welcome to the Pick Up Korea podcast. And today I'm sitting down with a client of mine who took a one-day, I call it like a one-day customized coaching session. It's sort of like a one-day boot camp. And he reached out to me because he just recently moved to Korea from Northern Europe. And so, welcome to the podcast today, Chris. And I want to ask you, first of all, why did you come to Korea, and what was your experience, approaching women, picking up women, dating women in general before coming to Korea?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I come from Northern Europe, and why I decided to come to Korea, just basically an intuition. I was also in Taiwan. It's just a feeling, It's sometimes you just feel you have to do this. Everything cannot be like reasoned logically. Just do it, right? So came to Korea. Actually, before I even arrived, I was looking out I was googling the pickup stuff, and found this your website, right? And I sent you actually an email like several months earlier that I'm coming to Korea, and pretty much on the first week I got here, I took the one-day program just to test it out, because sometimes you don't know if you need a longer session, you need more thorough coaching. So it's this one day session is like it's like a sample, right? It's you get the really good idea of what the other coaching sessions would be. So What else do you want to know?
Okay, what was your background before coming here? Like, what was your experience? For example, what was your experience doing some day game, approaching in clubs, dating prior to coming here?
Yeah. So I've known about game for a long time, but I always been a dabbler. I never took any boot camps, any programs. I was always, I had this mindset I can do it myself. I'll figure it out, right? It's like, why ask help, right? So then I was in several relationships. Again, it's just you don't really decide yourself. You just wherever the wind will take you, you just float around. That kind of a mentality. But I did go out around, that was probably 2016, 17. I went out quite a bit. I did some polls, both from day game, night game. But after that, again, a relationship, dabbled here and there. But yeah, now I want to take it seriously. So it's like, and
Okay, so you had a little bit of experience, but you really would kind of settle with whatever girl happened to be there, the convenience of the moment. Whatever girl was into it, I'll just settle down for now.
Yeah,
stop going out. Okay, so maybe we can chat a little bit about our specific coaching session. So like, have you ever approached that many girls in one day before? Like, we probably approached about, I don't know,
40 plus. Definitely.
40 plus. I would say between 40 and 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was that experience like? Was that the most you've ever approached? And maybe you can share a little bit about the experience too.
Yeah, that was amazing actually, because you're absolutely right about that. I never approached that many girls in my entire life. I could make an excuse that I never actually lived in a very big city, but then again, I was in Taiwan. So in Taiwan, I think one day I did 10 approaches, and that was like, oh my god, I'm crushing it. I'm pushing it to limits, which is ridiculous, right? It's like 10 should be something like a minimum.
like a warm up or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And especially in a big city like Taipei or Seoul. So after this program, I really started to push myself a lot more. For now, I have like a daily limit of 10 is minimum. That's one thing. What else? I go for the hot girls now. Previously, I almost never went to the hot girls because I don't know, it just froze, right? But now when I see one, I'm like, time to go to work. You just gotta do it. It's like, I actually have a story to illustrate it for a couple of days ago. I was in this very, very busy mall. There were so many people, and I saw this one girl, absolutely gorgeous, and there's like hundreds of people, like several hundred people basically, and this one girl just sticks out, and she has like headphones on, and she's rushing, and I was like, I gotta do it, right? It's like plowing through crowds, like it's like I don't know, like in a jungle with a machete, you just you just cut through the weeds. It's like, I gotta get to her, right? So a lot of guys would make excuse that, oh, she has headphones, oh, she's rushing, right? But actually, when I managed to stop her, she was really nice and she was responsive, and I got her number, and actually now she said that she will be available for a meetup next week, so we'll see how that goes. But you never know, right? You might, like, we make these excuses that, oh, probably it's gonna go this way, but no, it might go, but it might not go, right? So that's definitely I would attribute that to the to this training session, because I never done something like this before. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of guys who even do cold approach, do day game, do night game, a lot of guys that I've seen who even do a lot of sets, they will only focus on like the ones that are standing still or walking slow or seem like low-hanging fruit, right? And so they might not do the one, oh, she's walking a little too fast, or she has headphones on, she's on the phone, although she's perfectly my type, the hottest girl I've seen all day, my ideal type, but it's just not ideal in this situation. So they have a lot of limiting beliefs that hold them back, right? Even for people who are experienced. I've seen it time and time again, right?
Well, I still do it, but
you still do it
a lot less.
A lot less. Okay, see, that's a good point. So what do you think, what do you attribute your newfound sort of, you're doing more volume, you're approaching hotter girls, you are doing approaches where you wouldn't normally do them, in situations that, like you said, you never know what's going to happen actually when you do the approach. If you don't do the approach, we know what's going to happen. Yeah. It's called nothing, right? Yeah. If you do the approach, she might say, oh, sorry, I'm busy, sorry, I have a boyfriend, or oh, I can't hear you, I'm busy, might not even hear you or whatever, right? Possibly. But if you do the approach, it might actually turn into, like you said, you get a good reaction, she stops, you guys chat, and maybe even a date later. That's also another possibility. What do you think on our training, what do you think changed, basically? Because you would never have done that before.
Probably just because we did quite a bit of approaches in a very small time frame, right? There's not, you don't have like you don't walk around for like 20 minutes, do one approach, and then another 10 minutes. No, it's like approach, like 30 seconds later, another one, and another one, right? So I guess it really, it gets you out of your head. You just stop caring. And also, that's one thing. Another thing is that it's a lot about confidence, because if you don't have any training, you don't get any feedback, then you have these doubts that you don't know if you're doing it right. Is this the right way to approach? Is it because I got rejected a lot? Is it because of my approach, or is it because of something else? You don't really know, and that doubt is gonna reflect in your in your game, which means that the girls will respond more negatively, which means your self-confidence will go even more down. So it's like this negative downward spiral essentially. So when you're told that, okay, this is what you're doing right and this is what you need to focus on, then it gives you this confidence that, oh, I know how to do it, right? I know what to work on. I know that I'm on the right track, right? Otherwise you just aimlessly wandering around. You don't have a map, you don't have a compass, you just kind of try different directions. But now somebody gives you a map and a compass, it's like, okay, go this way, right? So even if you're not there yet, at least now you have a goal, a purpose, right? Okay, I need to work on my energy, right? It's I need to work on my how intense I am. So you wouldn't come off as like a very meek and that kind of a guy.
Easy to blow off, so to speak, right?
Yeah, because and the thing is, you don't see it yourself, right? Because I used to, like before that, I thought that, oh, I'm pretty like, I'm not like that bad, right? But it's like you yourself are not your best a person to give feedback, right? So a third person is always better. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you bring up two really good points there. One really good point, and this is what I see with every single client, is they all have these massive blind spots, right? And it doesn't matter whether they've never approached, because I've coached guys that are virgins who end up, getting married later, make families, or have nice girlfriends, or just live a more of a light lifestyle, depending on the individual, right? One thing, whether they're virgins or they've been doing this 5 years, I've coached guys like that. Every single client I've coached has had massive blind spots. And why is that? Because you can't really see yourself in action. You don't see yourself from a third person perspective, so that alone is insightful. You can have a friend watch you. However, having somebody who has 12 years of experience, who's coached 100 people maybe or so, and has done this over a decade, and has seen not only himself in set via recordings, I've recorded myself, via video and audio, so I was able to analyze that, and also having feedback from other coaches of mine, and mentors. But being able to have somebody who's a master at a craft see specifically where you're fucking up, whether that's pickup or whether that's, say you're training and you're not getting in shape, you're doing martial arts, you can be a white belt, unless you have somebody in jiu-jitsu, for example, unless you have somebody who's a higher belt, you don't really know what the fuck you're doing, right? You need somebody who's like, no, this is how you lock in the guard, this is how you get the rear naked choke, right? Or else you're just fumbling around, wasting time basically, right? So I think that your point was like showing what you're doing wrong. That is, and how to fix it, of course. You can just point out what's going wrong, but how the fuck do you fix it? That's a whole nother thing, right? And so a coach, that's really where they can give you kind of a roadmap, what you're not seeing, and how to, patch the holes. But then also on top of that, you bring up a good point, which I don't really bring up that much, which is that a lot of people don't feel entitled to approach. So, for example, like you said, I don't feel confident, am I doing the right thing? It's also not only an outer game thing, which we're kind of going over, but it's also an inner game thing in the fact that a lot of guys don't feel that they can do this. It's sort of like, it seems sort of outside of their reality. It seems like, I have to be this to do it. I have to be rich. I have to have perfect game to do it. I have to, whatever, right? I have to have perfect looks or something. They don't feel personally entitled to approach a girl. Of course, you're not entitled to reactions. Like, if I go, I have 12 years of experience, I know what I'm doing. However, I'm not entitled for the girl to like me. I'm not entitled for him to come on a date, but I am entitled to approach. I am entitled to take a shot. I am entitled to explore an opportunity, so to speak, right? And so one other aspect of getting coaching is the coach can instill a sense of entitlement to approach, or a sense of confidence to take the opportunity, if that makes any sense, right? So then now you realize, oh, I can give the coach is giving me permission. I can finally realize that I can give myself this permission. It is valid to do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then when you're on your own, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember when I was with him yesterday. We were just in the same area, and I did it then. And it was okay then. So I can do it again, right? It's like once you get that breakthrough experience, you can remind yourself of that, right? I think that's a very important point, you know.
Yes, exactly. Another, you mentioned that this point. I want to also inject that. Was it Michael Jordan or someone? I might be wrong on this, but someone like a really world class athlete or performer had like 9 different coaches. So the point I'm trying to make is that even the most advanced people, if they have like up to 10 coaches, and you're a beginner and think that you don't need any training, then you a little bit delusional, right? Because everybody needs it. You're not going to get to the top without just by yourself, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's the value of mentorship or getting coaching in something. It's like there are a reason why the best people surround themselves with the best, you know, the top leaders or the top people in their field surround themselves with a good team, right? So it's like, you know, say for example, it's LeBron James. I think he has like, you know, physical therapist, a massage, a mental coach, you know, even though he's the best player, you know, in the past decade or so, 2 decades, he still has coaches in all these different areas so that he continues to improve and stay optimized, basically, right? And know what to work on, right? And so I think that's a very, a lot of people have this mindset they can do it all on their own. And sometimes you can do a lot on your own. However, imagine if you got to this area in 10 years. Literally with coaching, you can get to the same area in a month, 6 months, a year, you know. So it's like, how much, the other question is like, really, how much do you respect your time with this shit, right? It's like, you really want to handle this or not, you know?
Why reinvent the wheel when you can just basically buy the wheel and use this to build something even better, quicker, faster. Right?
It's like, you know, a guy here who's a guy, you know, a friend, for example, he knows how to code. He knows Python, for example, right? And you're like, I'm just going to read the book and learn on my own and like maybe never fucking learn it, or it might take me 10 years. Or what about this? Offer the motherfucker some money. Like, hey, I'll pay you if you teach me this because I know I can learn it probably in 3 months, 6 months from you rather than fumbling around for years on my own. So not only do you, you know, shortcut your progress, you speed up your progress, and then what's funny is investing in yourself actually pays off because now you have a skill, now you can get a job, now you get money. So not only do you get that money you pay back, it's, you know, it increases. And
you should get the money back, right? Otherwise you're doing it wrong, right? So,
absolutely. So it's a very critical point. All right, so actually it's kind of funny because recently I have had a lot of people email me about immersion programs. A couple people sign up for immersion, a couple people sign up for bootcamp, and then a few that were interested in like 1-day programs too. And they're very curious, like, we kind of vague, I guess. We did a lot of sets. He gave feedback. He, gave me a sense of confidence to approach. I know what to work on now. But like, what exactly were we doing? It's like, how do you explain that? So we went out for like basically a whole day, right? We met up at like maybe 10:30, 11ish, around there roughly, right?
11 something 30, I guess.
Yeah, something like that, right? Maybe 10:30, 11ish, 11:30. A little bit before lunchtime, and then we're out pretty much all day until like evening, right?
Yeah, 6, 7.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah. And so, what exactly did we do? So, can you share a little bit about that?
So, I did an approach, and you gave me feedback pretty much immediately, right? So, not after every set, right? Because I don't even think that would be that much helpful, but just couple of like maybe 3-5 sets and then feedback, right? 3-5 sets, feedback. So it's even difficult to describe. It's this combination of small tweaks and nuances that just add up.
So tweaks in what though? Like, for example, maybe you can share an example. Maybe in your body language, in your verbals, in your
right. So right off the open, for example, you told me to emote myself more, right? So for example, just like be a little bit more animated. Otherwise, I'm gonna So that was one thing.
And more expressive, more emotive. Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Denseness, energy.
Energy level. Yeah, I remember you're coming in like kind of like the girl would be like walking quickly, or she'd be sort of, what would you say? Sort of, she's coming from like say she's rushing, or she's coming in like intense, and then you're coming in like really like
monotone,
hey,
robotic, right?
Oh hey, but like very low energy, like you just woke up, and this girl is like she just got out of a 1 hour PT session, so it's like your energy levels were fucking off, you know what I mean? So I was pointing that out and like how to kind of like boost your energy up to be sort of on the same wavelength with that person, so that they can actually communicate with you ultimately, right? They actually take it in rather than just like something's off, right? So when I see students when they approach like some other students have the opposite problem where they come in way too high energy, and then it's like at a bookstore or like the girl's just standing still, so it's like frightening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like what it looks like to me is like it's a good analogy of this sort of like adjusting your energy levels is like I call it in the ebook, if anybody read that, the energetic rhythm, right? That everyone's operating on. We're all operating on this like different vibe, different frequencies, different harmonizations, right? Different wavelengths. It's sort of like, have you ever been in a room, you're having a conversation with like 3 or 4 friends, you guys are hanging out having a beer or coffee or whatever, and then like somebody comes and like interrupts it.
I remember that example.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we're all talking about, say we're talking about, oh, watch the World Cup, yeah, that shit was sick. And somebody comes on like, oh, hey, woo. You're like, something just feels off, right? Or we're all having a good time. Somebody comes in and they're like really depressed and they sit next to you. You're just like, even though they didn't say anything, it's like the energy in the room shifted from like fun to like, you know what I mean? Like the vibe got dropped, right? So that's what it looks like when I see students approach that are coming on like, you know what I mean? They're coming on in like the wrong energy level. It's like, this is just fucking off. It's like, it doesn't even matter what you're going to say. You can have the greatest verbal, clever line to say, but it's just like you're not even on the same fucking plane. You know what I mean?
It's like,
you're not even in the game, motherfuckers, you know?
A typical example is probably like a seminar, right? The seminar speakers are talking about something, they're vibing, even like some of the audience is vibing, and then just there's this one guy who stands up, like raises his hand and asks some completely like a out of context question, and it's just you could feel the vibe of the entire room just drops. So I guess it's basically the same kind of thing, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. All right, so yeah, we went out, we did a bunch of sets. We were working on like your energy levels. We were working on body language, right? So sort of adjusting. Sometimes you would come in on like too close or too far away, or like I remember one thing that you did that a lot of other people do as well is they'll talk to a girl, they'll open, and that's good. You want to open, right? That's the fucking point. Don't open, there's no set, there's no date, there's no phone number. However, what people often do is they approach a girl and then they stand in the middle of the fucking street or like an escalator where like people, it's like they're not aware that there's a reality going on around them. And so then the girl looks weird out like, oh fuck, like I'm stuck in a, it's almost like it looks like there's a tsunami wave coming and like she's trying to get away from it, and like you're blocking her from, you know.
It basically boils down to social intelligence. Being
absolutely.
Aware.
Situational social intelligence.
Yeah, definitely. You pointed that out as well. It's like try to move her quite as fast as possible, basically. And I tested this, and actually almost all girls pretty much complied very quickly. So as soon as you basically get her to stop, you exchange a couple of words, because if you already get her to stop and she's staying, that's compliance, right? So it's just next level of compliance. Hey, let's move here for a bit, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, not only does it display social intelligence, because you're realizing you're blocking the fucking traffic, and she's like, people are staring at you because you're the only motherfuckers in the middle of the street or subway station, like blocking everything. So social intelligence, but also, like you said, you're getting compliance. You're getting the, let's move over here, let's go try it here. You're leading, they're following, which is ultimately where you want to be, right? That's where you want to be. You want to be in a position of leadership. You want to be getting compliance, basically, right? Which is one of the essentials, right?
And another thing, which I would also consider what I learned, is the actual spots to go out to, because if you just come to a new city, you don't know anything about it. You don't know the best places, right? So because that takes, I would guess, at least like a year or more living in that city to figure it out by yourself. So that's also a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in our session, we went to like 1, 2, I think about 4 different areas. So we went to like the Gangnam area, we went to Jamsho area, we went to the Express Terminal area, Shinnonian area. Yeah, at least 4 different spots. So, and then like a lot of people only find one of these spots and then only go there, and it's like they're missing out on all these other areas they can go to, which have they all have like different demographics, different scenarios, and some areas are even better for other guys than other areas. So some guys will do better in a situation where it's more of the girls are kind of just different demographic, more of their type. So they find more girls they're attracted to, and it's just a different situation that they do better in, whereas other guys might not, right? So it is good to mix it up, have a diverse area. Rather, it's almost like going to the same bar, you only know the one same bar, versus, okay, I got the hip-hop bar, I got the EDM bar, I got the reggae bar, you know, they all have different kind of people, different vibes, different demographics, right? So it is cool to have, like, you know, in life in general, have a little bit of variety, not just eat fucking pepperoni pizza every day, right? You know, I mean, really, right? And it's like, yeah, a lot of people don't know where to go, so having somebody who's been doing this a long time, who can point out these spots and kind of give you a, sort of like the areas, and that way when you go out on your own, it's like you unlock these new video game maps, and you can, like, oh, now there's that map over there, let's go play, you know, level 3 today, or something like that.
And you don't even have to do only the streets, right?
Yeah.
You can also, what I learned is you can actually go inside the store. You can go inside the bookstore. You can go inside the grocery store, right? So it kind of opened my eyes, right? That, you know, it's not just the street, right, or the subway station. It's like lots of places. That's
yeah, absolutely. All right. So we talked a little bit about like adjustments that we made. Talked a little about like what we're doing in the sessions. Maybe a little bit. Can you describe like my coaching style? Some people ask like, do you really push the students hard, or are you very lenient, or are you a combination of both? I've had that question actually asked recently. So maybe you can share a little bit about like my personal approach. You know.
I think it's it's not aggressive. I've heard that some coaches just go like crazy maybe, and it's not too soft. So I would say it's quite in the middle. It's like just like a balance, right? Again, it's like it's not like you get pushed all the time. So maybe that will raise your awareness that maybe I should push myself. You know, it's not only the coach that, you know, does the hand holding, because it's very easy to approach if somebody just tells you that to approach, right? But to actually do it yourself, so as well.
Yeah, there's a fine line too. If you push them too hard, the student can break. Because they're like, this is too intense, I can't handle this anymore, you know what I mean? But if you're too lenient, you're not getting anything out of it. So it's like being a parent, right? If you're too strict on your kid, they're gonna get out of control, right? They're gonna resent you. They're not gonna wanna
it has to be a little bit of fun as well.
Yeah, it's like a North Korean regime. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Versus if it's like, well, but then again, if it's only like, oh, hey, we're just here, ha ha ha, then you're not really learning. You know what I mean? You're not. So it's a fine line. It's like being a coach is like being a parent. You got to know when to push, when to give up, when to what would you say? When to hold back a little bit too. So yeah, that's a big thing for sure.
It was really chill. I mean, not chill in like that.
I mean, not chill. We did like 50 sets. So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like we are going hard, but we did take some breaks in between and stuff like that. Right? Chill a little bit. Have a coffee,
lunch.
Have a chat. Have a lunch. Have a coffee. Have a chat. Review some stuff. We also did record by audio. Some of your sets. So did you find that to be valuable? Because one thing that a lot of students told me is, wow, I never realized that I talk this way. I never heard myself in the girl. I never heard that she was coming off this way. I was coming off this way. Did you find any value in listening to?
I actually haven't still listened to these recordings.
But during our coaching session, we did record and listen a little bit to them.
Well, you listened, and then you gave me the feedback. So
Yeah. So it allows me in certain situations where I can't hear you clearly, it allows me to kind of break down what you're saying verbally and where it's going wrong. Because all I really need to listen to is like a handful, because usually the same things are happening, and it's just pointing out the patterns where you're fucking up and how to fix it, right? So that's also very, very valuable, I would say. Also, I think we should talk a little bit about, in terms of, we did probably like 40 to 50 sets, somewhere around there. And maybe a little bit about like, not only like what you learned, we went over that, like what we pointed out, but like how did the results pan out in that specific day? Like you end up getting like 11 numbers or something?
Yeah,
like
11, I think, yeah.
Okay. And these are mostly girls that you're like I mean, I was there. These are attractive girls. We didn't approach a single fatty, right? Not a single.
Why would you do that?
Ugly, you know what I mean? Not a single ugly one. So yeah, maybe you can share a little bit about how the results panned out, right? They're like attractive, you know.
Almost all of the girls responded back because I sent them the text. You actually recommended me to send the picture we took at the dinner, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they all responded pretty much. I only ended up having 1 date out of it. I almost had two, but one flaked at the last moment. But it's fine, right? So.
Also, your logistics, good to mention, your logistics are pretty poor right now,
It's
something
horrible.
that I pointed out. Yeah. So it's always very useful to also hear how to optimize your logistics, which we went over a little bit too, right?
Yes.
Like which areas are good to stand, where they should be situated, how they should be set up, things along these lines.
Yeah, I learned my lesson there as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the next kind of like apartment I'll take is definitely somewhere in some big area, right? Even if it's a closet and without the shower, whatever. It's logistics is super important.
For sure.
It's also kind of how to say, restricting your learning as well, right? Because because of your logistics you cannot pull.
Or you can pull, or it's harder to get people to meet up because they don't want to go to that shitty area, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want to go to fucking Timbuktu, like, it's like, say you're in New York and you're like in some slum or something, like, do you want to...
it's possible, but...
It's possible, I don't want to make it sound like it's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there's more optimal ways to do things,
Of
right?
course,
It's like, say you have a sandwich shop and it's like in the middle of nowhere. You're probably not going to get that many customers, I mean, to be honest, right? You can get some, but we're saying there's more optimal locations than others, Yeah, for sure. Maybe, okay, so you got like, you scheduled 2, 1 came out, flaked, right? And of course, went over the logistics.
Actually, the one that did came out, I'm still in contact with her. Right?
Nice.
I actually made a little mistake, so she got a little bit spooked. You could sense through text that she got spooked, but I'm actually meeting up with her soon. So.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you're getting another meetup.
Another chance.
Nice. That's great. Okay. Cool. And then also, of course, you can also ping the other ones later. Like we call that the pension. So maybe they didn't meet up or the text kind of died off. You still have those contacts. You can still ping them later, and maybe one or two might even come out later too. Then that'll happen as well. All right. Cool. What are some other like takeaways or maybe insights that you can share about spending, I think it was like 7-8 hours, something like that, together?
I don't know. My mind is pretty blank now. So.
Okay, then I guess a better question would be, like, now that we did the 1-day session, and now that you have more entitlement to do this, what to work on, how has your, like, pre-taking the session, post-taking the session, what has changed? Like, are you implementing a lot more daily? Are you going out more? Are you... Yeah.
Almost every day. And
okay, sweet. Yeah.
The number of approaches has definitely increased a lot. And because you can see what you can actually do in just 1 day, that makes you push yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's, you want to actually replicate the same the same day, right?
Yeah.
Again, because you know it's possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's kind of like once you see the possibilities, you kind of want to manifest them, or you want to pursue them, right?
yeah, it's,
Yeah. All right. Do you have any personal like goals that you are working on now? It's like now that you kind of saw where's going wrong, how to fix it, you have more confidence. Do you have any like personal goals you set? Like,
Yes,
yeah, I want to do this many sets. I want to get this many dates going or whatever.
my main goal is just to get approaching as a habit. I think it's the most important thing with pretty much anything you want to learn. It's just don't really worry about the quality or the quantity. Just get it as a habit first, because once it's a habit, it's easy to do, and then you kind of naturally want to increase both the quantity and quality. So it's like, let's say you want to make going to the gym a habit, right? So you can just go to the gym for like 30 minutes or even less and do that, but at one point you just start to think like, why am I doing so little? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I wanna do more, right? So you actually start to push yourself more. So this is my main goal, is to just get it as a habit. So that's why I'm going out every day, and doing at least like minimum of 10 sets a day. So
Okay, good.
So-
And which is like way. I mean, okay, that's a good goal, and you are executing a bit now. Compared to before this, it was like
it was like
you were doing like nothing or 3, right? It was most days
Yeah.
nothing, some days 3, and that was like a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I live in a small city, like back in my hometown as well,
Sure.
but I 3 is just too, like, it's, yeah.
yeah,
It's
right.
gonna take forever.
Yeah, so that's a good thing about Korea for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been really good. Maybe do you have any final thoughts, or if somebody was considering taking a program like this, what would you say? Maybe.
Definitely take it. I believe this is like, there is no other, like, a course or teaching you can get for that money that will change your life that much. So it's just, I don't know anything out there that could cost this much and change your life the same way, right? Because this is
The value proposition. Is
yeah,
really
like
good, yeah.
you take it once and it's yours forever, right? It's never gonna, you're never gonna like forget it. Like, as if you buy a new phone, for example, it just gets old in a couple of weeks. It's over, right? But this is something that's forever, right?
Right. No, absolutely. It's like, yeah, certain experience, it's like, how do you put a value on it, right? It's like the first time you did this, or you realized you could do this, or, the first time, everyone has different things. First time you take like a psychedelic, like, wow, I never knew you could see the world in this way, right?
Yeah.
The first time you have a date or something like that, like, certain experiences will change you as a person. It's like, it's hard to put a real value on that, I would say.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, yeah, well, thanks for coming on today. I think this is pretty good, and yeah, until next time.
Yep, thanks.